All right, so in this video, we are going to run through our 6-day trip through North Macedonia. So if you've never been there, if you're looking to travel there, see what it's like, stay tuned for this video while we give you some tips and tricks and show you how our trip went.
So before we get started, it's just worth mentioning that we only had 6 days in the whole of North Macedonia, so this is just our personal experiences, so let's get started. Okay, first stop was Skopje. We left Serbia from Niš with the bus and we went to Skopje. The boarding crossing, we had no issues at all. I do have a green card, and if you're an American citizen, you don't need any type of visa to get into North Macedonia. And arriving in Skopje, once again, you're gonna have to deal with the taxis, and we paid like $2 from the bus station to the Old Bazaar area where we stayed. So just make sure and ask a few taxis for the prices before you just jump into any taxi.
So it's mid-July, and as of right now, you only need the negative PCR test that you entered the Balkans with to travel within the Balkans. And from what we've seen, as long as you have that negative PCR test, you're good to go. So when we did the boarding crossing by bus, that's all we needed to show, and obviously our passport and green card. So one of our tips, and this goes for pretty much everywhere, if when making a booking online or booking Airbnb is usually pretty trustworthy, but just always check the room first before you make the payment. There's been several occasions where we've made a booking online, seen certain pictures and thought we're getting one thing, and then we get there and get another. So do not be afraid to see that room, make them show you the room first, and then make the payment, because trying to get your money back, whether it be by card or by cash, it's just gonna be a hassle.
Most of the rooms, when you go to these places, you're gonna, especially if you order on booking, they don't usually accept credit cards on the site itself, and most of the places only do cash. So that's also one of the benefits in a way for you to be able to check the room before you have to pay anything.
All right, so we only spent 2 nights in the capital, and we found that that was more than enough time, even while it rained and kind of pushed us indoors for a little bit. But 2 nights, so that gave us a full day and a half to explore kind of the 3 main parts that we wanted to go to, which is the Old Bazaar and the city center and the kind of the bohemian area.
Yeah, and I mean, the city is really big enough so you can walk everywhere. You don't need public transport in this whole city. Everything is pretty close to each other. And if you don't know, the locals are really nice, and most of the country speak English. We realized that really quickly, that that's not a problem. You can speak to mostly anyone and they can speak English and they'll understand you. And also, we had no issues with regards to things like safety in the city as well.
Yeah.
You'll notice right away that it's definitely a little bit more expensive versus the other places that we went, like Prilep and Bitola. One thing that we did wish we did more of was explore the Old Bazaar. When we were there, the first day was so rainy and we explored more of the new part of the city. And then the second day when we went, a lot of the shops was closed. I don't know if it was part of COVID that did that, but a lot of the places was closed.
Next stop was Prilep. That's about a 2-hour bus ride south of Skopje. And the reason why we chose Prilep is because we were slowly making our way down through the country to Ohrid, and Prilep was kind of on the way down there, and it's not really a tourist destination. Another reason why we chose it, because we really like to see the real cities of a country, and we don't want to walk into a place and see the magnets on the street. And we loved Prilep.
Yeah.
It was much more than what you see online. There's barely an online presence of this city, so you're not really expecting too much. So that's probably one of the reasons why we liked it, is because we got there and it was much more than we was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, they had great options. The food was great. It was so much more affordable than the main city, and just the people also, you get a different feel to the place, and you definitely get a more local feel to the country when we went there.
Yeah.
There's no tourist presence at all.
Next stop was Bitola, which was about a 40 minute to an hour bus ride further down south from Prilep. And Bitola was kind of on the flip side of Prilep because Bitola is one of those places that they say you have to go to. It's very hyped up. There's a lot of beautiful pictures online about it. And when we got there, we were, I don't know, would you say we're let down a little bit, or just, it was kind of underwhelming, right? We just came from Prilep and we were super amazed by it, and we just love the local feel of it, and we get to Bitola and it's definitely a little bit more touristy. There's definitely beautiful buildings, lots of sidewalk cafes, and obviously the history that's there, which was really nice. But other than that, I mean, one night there, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think what adds to the problem with Bitola was there was a lot of businesses closed. So I don't think we got to experience the full side of the city because of that. And I don't know if it was COVID related or what it was, but that was just what we experienced. And also there was a lot of rain.
Yeah. Next up was Ohrid, and that was about an hour bus ride kind of southwest of Bitola. And this is definitely on the must-see, must-stops of North Macedonia.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more expensive, kind of up there with Skopje, but it's a must-see. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. In fact, we weren't really expecting it to, we were expecting it to be a very touristy, kind of overly hyped place, but it really was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, even if big touristy places is your thing, I would definitely recommend going to Lake Ohrid. It's so beautiful, and when you go there, I recommend getting in one of those boats. There's a ton of them, you won't miss them, and take the ride.
Yeah, and when you're there, make sure you get lost in the city. We actually did, and not on purpose, on the way to finding the amphitheater.
Yeah.
And it was really gorgeous. I mean, it really was so picturesque. I mean, if you're an Instagrammer and you want all the pretty pictures, go there. It really is gorgeous. And even all of the locals that we spoke to in North Macedonia and in the surrounding countries, they were like, you have to go to Ohrid. So go to Ohrid. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Also, if you go there, I would say 2 nights.
Yeah.
You can do 2 nights. You can arrive late afternoon and spend the one day and leave the next morning.
If there's one thing that I wish we did a little different for our trip, I would like to have gone to more places like Prilep and just seen, I guess, the real Northern Macedonia or North Macedonia.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear from you guys. So if you've been to North Macedonia, or if you have any questions, let us know in the comments and tell us how your trip went, or how you might do things differently, or maybe recommendations that other viewers can learn from for their upcoming trip.
Yeah, especially if you went to the eastern part where we didn't. Let us know in the comments below. One last tip is, when you go to North Macedonia, make sure you have a lot of cash in you. The place is very cash heavy. So thank you so much for watching, and catch you in the next country.